Hello everyone, welcome to the Reading Nook. Thank you so much for stopping by this channel. And hi, my name is Lochna. I live in Hong Kong and I like reading a lot of books from different genres, and I wanted to start this channel so that I can share my book reviews, type of books that I read, my book shopping, everything with all of you. So this was like my dream, starting a reading channel, a book channel related to things all about book. So if you also like this type of ideas, if you also like this type of videos related to book stuff, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I know that there are a lot of booktube channels available where you can watch book related stuff, but I think everyone has a different idea, everyone like has a different taste of books, type of books that everyone read, and there are a lot of books available in the world, and I don't think that every single person can read every single book available in the world. So that's why I also wanted to share my type of books that I like reading and the books that I like recommending to others. So that is why I created this channel. So this is my first video that you are watching currently, and in this video I'm going to share with you 4 books that I really liked a lot when I read them. So there are other books as well which I like, but I don't have the physical copies with that book. I will share that books also with you at the end of the video, but currently I will be sharing books with you whose physical copies I have available with me. So I have 4 books to share with you, and the first one that I really liked, and I think I read it like last year in 2023, and which was this one. This is The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. So if you don't know this author, he's like a very good bestseller and he writes like very interesting books. I also have one more book from this author, and if you can see, this is like a very old book because I bought it from like book fair, and I think this was like already a used book, so that's why it's like in this condition. So if you don't know about this book, I think many of you could judge it by the cover that this is all about time. So it's like based on present and as well as like centuries ago. So it has a character whose name is Dor, and that person actually centuries ago he tried to discover clock for counting time, but at that time he was given a punishment for counting time. So actually he was sent to banishment for century, and he was sent into a cave with full of darkness, and he couldn't see anyone for like centuries. But suddenly one day he gets like freedom from the punishment, and the only way that he can live and get his freedom back was that he had to go back on earth and he had to teach 2 people the value of time. So one of the person on earth is a teenager who thinks that she has a lot of time and she wants to like reduce the time. She thinks that her life is like ruined, and the other one is like a business tycoon who is ailing, who is like getting old, and he wants to buy like more time for himself. So he has to go back on earth and he has to save these 2 people in order to save his freedom. So this is all about what's in this book, and this book is written in a very good way. So as you can see, it's not a very big book, it's not a chunky book, and you will be able to read it in one day if you like to read. So this was quite interesting, and this book teaches a lot of things. The most important is like the time, and like we don't consider time as a valuable thing when we are living or when we are in our young ages, and then once we get old we start thinking that we need more time. So this book teaches like try to live in the present and enjoy your life as much as you can, so that you don't have any regrets in the future that you didn't do this thing or you didn't do this particular thing. So this is all about this book, The Timekeeper. I highly recommend it, and if you really like non-fictional things which are like not that much fictional, you can definitely give this book a try. Now the second book that I wanted to share with you all is a psychological thriller Netflix has already created a movie on this book. I haven't watched the movie because I have read the book, but if you also haven't watched the movie, you can try reading this book, because the movie is always a abridged version and the book is where you get all the good things. So this is the book, The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. This is a psychological thriller, and if I tell you about the synopsis of the book, so this book is based on a main character named Anna Fox, and Anna Fox has not left her house for like 10 months. She doesn't get out of her door, and she does like everything in her house, and she doesn't like going out. Why, you say? That you will learn in this book why she doesn't like to get out of her house. But the only way that she gets connected to her neighborhood, like what's happening in her surroundings, is by her window. So in her drawing room she has a very large window, and from her window she keeps eye on everyone and peeks around the neighborhood. So one day there's a family that comes to live in her neighborhood, just like close to her, and she can see from her window, and she feels like it's like a picture perfect family. But suddenly she hears a scream one night, and when she sees from her window into the picture perfect family's house, she sees something that's not very good, that's little dreadful. But now she wants to uncover the truth, but the problem is that will anyone believe her what she saw, and how will she be able to prove it? And also there's also a story going on about her past. She is facing something, so she cannot also believe on herself that whatever she has seen is true, or she was delusionized and it's just her dream what she saw from the window. So this is a very good psychological thriller. It's not like any other murder mystery or crime thriller or something like that. It's a psychological thriller, and it will put little pressure on your brain, and it was very disturbing, but it was very like interesting. It's written in a very good way, and what happens in the end will actually blow your mind, because it also blew my mind. So if you haven't watched the movie, do consider reading this book, because it will give you all the good things that I think are not in the movie. So do consider this reading. I highly recommend this book. The third book that I wanted to share with you all, it's like a it's a true story, and it's little sad, it's little depressing, because it's a true story. And the book that I'm talking about is this one. The book is The Boy Who Followed His Father into Auschwitz, and this has been written by Jeremy Dronfield. So it also has an illustrated version, and the illustrated version name is Fritz and Kurt, and it's actually for young readers. So if you don't know about this book, let me give you like a brief synopsis about this book. So this book is based around the year, like around the time in the history when Nazi Germany was like at the top of power in Europe, and they were like capturing different parts of Europe. So this story talks about two main characters, which is Gustav Kleinman and his elder son, whose name is like Fritz Kleinman. So when like Germany comes to take Austria, they live in Vienna with their family. So when Germany comes to take Austria, then these two, father and son, they are sent to a concentration camp in a place called Buchenwald in 1939, and there they like survived 3 years. Then after that, the father, that is Gustav, he becomes like little old and weak, so he is sent to another concentration camp which is known as Auschwitz. And at that time, this Auschwitz place was like the most like hellish place on the earth. And Fritz, who is his son, he knows that it's like a very bad place, so he voluntarily tells the superiors that he also want to go to Auschwitz, because he has such a strong bond with his father that he doesn't want to leave his father, even if it's like death for him. So he actually thinks like if he want to live, he want to live with his father, and if he want to die, he want to die with his father. So this is a very interesting book, and it's like a true story. It's the Gustav Klein, when he was in concentration camp, he used to maintain a diary, and from that diary and interviews conducted, the story has been built. So everything in the story is like true, and everything is well researched. It's very interesting. If you like these type of novels which are based on history, it's a little disturbing. So if you are okay with reading these type of novels, you can do consider reading this novel. I really like this novel. I really felt bad seeing the plight of the people at that time who were in the concentration camp. It also tells us about the story of people, how do they live, how do they lived during that period. And I think there's one quote which I've heard like a lot of time, which says like God help those who help themselves. And I think the main character in this book, they prove like true to that quote, because the main characters in these books, they are like very weak, but they still have a lot of power to sustain themselves during the things that were happening around them at that time. And finally like they were able to live their life at the concentration camp, and in 1946 they were able to like gain their freedom. How did that happen? Everything from 1939 to 1946, what happened in those years is all shown in this book. So if you like that type of stories, you can really read this. This was very good book, and I highly recommend this one if you like this type of stories. The fourth book that I want to share with you all is like a book that I like the most from all the books that I have. This one is like the best book that I have read till now, and I completed this book in like 2 days. So it's also a mixture of true events and fictional characters. So it's a book based on true events that happened in history, but the book itself is a fiction. So the book that I'm talking about is Salt to Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I think I maybe have pronounced the author's name wrongly, but the book is quite interesting. There's also a short poem written on the first page of the book that I really enjoyed and really liked. So this book is based on the year 1945, when there was war going around in all Europe, and there was also a lot of winter. At that time, there was a ship known as William Gustloff, which is like a true story. So that ship had to carry some refugees to like west or southern part of Germany. So this story is based on that ship, but the characters that are shown in the story are fictional. So this story revolves around 4 characters named Joanna, Emilia, Alfred, and Florian. Each one is from a different country. Like one is from Lithuania, one is from Poland, one is from Persia, which is like now some parts of Germany and some parts of Russia, I think, and one is from Germany. So they 4 board the same vehicle, the same vessel, the same ship, William Gustloff, and they all have like little secrets. And now they are like on the same ship, but they are thinking like, should they share their secrets with other ones or not, because they don't know who is their enemy, because they belong to different homelands, and like Europe was fighting among themselves at that time. So no one from one homeland could believe on the person from other. So now they board the ship, and actually the ship sinks. So this is like a true story. Like when William Gustloff was carrying refugees during 1945 war, that time USSR actually bombed the ship, and there were like 90,000 civilians, including children and women, on the ship, and everyone drowned. So this was like the biggest tragedy in history. It was bigger than Titanic, but because very few people survived that wreckage, so I think that's why a lot of people don't know that this was the biggest tragedy in history, and still people consider Titanic as the biggest one. I will not go into the detail, but yeah, so this story is actually based on that thing. So all 4 refugees on the same ship, and everyone has their own secrets. Now the ship sinks. Now will they be able to believe on each other? Will they be able to help each other? And will they be able to save their life? Is all what it's written in this book. One thing I really liked about this book is that this book introduces you to all the 4 characters in different chapters, and then in subsequent chapters, each chapter has a chapter. Each chapter is dedicated to a character. For example, the first one you will read about Joanna. So the chapter is named Joanna, and you will read the details. Then comes Florian. The chapter is Florian, then details, and so like that. And this happens till the end of the book. So there are not like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chapters are named Amelia, Florian, Alfred, and Joanna. So this is what is interesting in this book, and that keeps you really reading, because you want to read what Joanna said in this chapter. Now what will happen with her next. So if you like these type of books which are inspired from true stories but are based on fictional characters, you can try reading this one. This is a very interesting book. I will try to find other books from this author, because I think she writes very good and in a very interesting way and in a very current way that people are stick to the book and they try to finish it in one go. So yeah, I really recommend reading this one, and this was my last book on the list. Other than these 4 books, I also read 2 books which were like very which I really liked a lot. So one was Animal Farm and the other one was Malice. So the Malice book is written by Kigo Higashino. He's a he's a Japanese writer, and that's like a crime thriller, and that's also a very good book. So if you are interested in crime thrillers, you can actually read Malice. And the second one that I said is Animal Farm by George Orwell. George Orwell is a very good English literary writer. Animal Farm is like a sarcastic book that actually gives sarcasm on the human nature. It was a really interesting book, so you can try reading that one. So for today's video, I had just these things. So if you like this video, do consider subscribing to the channel, and in the coming videos I will share with you my monthly TBR, books that I own, books that I have recently read, reviews about that books, and other stuff related to books. So if you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing and give this video a like, and do share with your loved one who like reading book. So I will see you in the next video next week at the same time, and till then, enjoy yourselves, keep reading lots and lots of books, start increasing your literal knowledge. I will see you in the next week. Until then, bye bye guys, take care, see you.